And sometimes the answer is it's on leased land. A lot of buyers see the price out of a beach property or mobile home and think, wait, why is this so much cheaper than everything else all the way around? And sometimes the answer is it's on leased land. I literally just left a couple looking at a vacation property like this, and they had a lot of really fantastic questions. And honestly, I get why. A lot of people don't fully understand what lease land actually means until they're already emotionally attached to this property. So let me explain this simply. When you buy a home on leased land, you actually own the structure, but not the dirt itself. So instead of owning the land, you're paying monthly land lease or rent to the park or even a landowner. Now, that doesn't automatically make it a bad purchase, right? There are buyers where this type of ownership style makes a ton of sense. They're especially for somebody who is looking for something that's a little bit smaller maintenance, and maybe they're only using the property a couple months out of the year or periodically throughout the year. Now, where buyers are often surprised in this, they focus heavily on the purchase price and not really enough on the structure of the park or restrictions in itself, because the lot rent really matters. How often it could change really, really matters. And what are the park rules that could potentially change over time? That matters. And financing, that definitely matters too. All right. Not every lender finances homes on leased land. And even the ones that do may have different requirements depending on the age of the home, the foundation type, and even some of the park nuances are really important to financing as well. So sometimes buyers see a property online and think, wow, this could be a really affordable beach place. I see it every day, right? And then later realize the financing options can be more limited than what they've originally planned for. And typically it's at a higher interest rate. That's why I always tell buyers before getting emotionally attached to the property, make sure you understand the financing side and the ownership structure before we do anything. And typically those two things go hand in hand. And while we're talking about the ownership costs, let's closely look at what the land lease could actually cover or what's included in that, because every community is very different. Some lot rents may include water, sewer, trash pickup. Many of them might even have amenities, so you're paying into that as well. So some other communities actually might even have a very low lot rent and doesn't really ever cover anything. So one thing that's really important for us to talk about is the taxes, okay? This is important too, because what are you actually paying for? Typically, in this scenario, this leased land, you're paying for the manufactured home itself, right? The landowner or the park itself will pay for the property, the dirt, as the property as a whole. The easiest way that I like to think about this is you own the vehicle, but you don't own where it's necessarily parked. Okay, that simple explanation, but it always helps buyers understand why the tax structure feels different than traditional real estate here on the beach. And honestly, this is why I slow buyers down and just say, hey, let's really, really talk about what this is going to look like as a whole after you guys close and ensure that it really fits what this looks like for you and their lifestyle and how they want to use the property. So let's talk about what I want my buyers to really, truly understand, right? Does the lot rent change? And how often does it change? What is included in it? And what are some of the restrictions that come with that particular park? Because a lot of second home, the flexibility of that really, really matters. And that's really the conversation. I'm Lori Lee Mendieta with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. Thanks for watching another episode of The Logic Behind the Lifestyle.